merely peace in our time, peace in all time.
It was a hot June day, and we, of course, were in black gowns. Most of us that were sitting on the field didn't realize how special the speech was until actually that evening when we saw news reports on it. It was a very inspiring speech because it came on the heels of the Cuba Missile Crisis, which had really caused a great deal of nervousness in the United States. I mean, we came close to going to war. You know, we don't need to be enemies. We've never fought a war between the United States and the Soviet Union. And he held out an olive branch. And he said, you know, we have different ideas and we have different interests, but we should be able to get along at a time really following a very, very tense period in American history. Well, I was clearly part of that generation that was really attracted by President Kennedy's call for service, because I really felt that government and nonprofit activities really were my calling rather than the for-profit world. I spent my first 6 years on Capitol Hill working on legislation from the Great Society. A friend of mine and myself were involved in a major effort to recruit volunteers from colleges to volunteer in Washington, D.C. nonprofit agencies. We thought it would be a wonderful time for the president to talk about these volunteer efforts and encourage them, and to push his platform for a national service organization similar to the Peace Corps. So Robert Kennedy thought it was a good idea too. He wrote a speech, or had his speechwriters write a speech, which was actually flown out to Hawaii to meet the president's Air Force One. And so we really expected a speech on volunteerism. It was pretty clear right from the beginning of the speech that the president had an entirely different agenda, and gave a very important speech on peace and international affairs and the whole idea of détente and the nuclear test ban treaty. Toward the end of the speech, there was a paragraph that was sandwiched in quite obviously from the speech that Bobby Kennedy's people had flown out to Hawaii, because it didn't have anything really in context with the rest of the speech. One of the important things about President Kennedy's speech and his whole demeanor as a president was to say, yes, we have problems, and yes, we can come up with solutions. And he presented a very positive image that one could do things, and that we could do things together. Some people forget that when President Kennedy was president, he also had a Congress that often didn't want to do what he wanted them to do. But Kennedy held out hope, and Kennedy believed that government was important, and he believed that working together for world peace was important. And I think we could do with bringing a little bit of that feeling back.